Hi, this is a foreigner in the Philippines. Some of the questions that I get are comments that are questions which I suppose are meant to give me a bad time. And I know that all of my good friends, all my supporters, our supporters say, just ignore those guys. But it's, it's an interesting point, isn't it? That when people ask you a question, the question is not just for you, in my case, not just for me. It's for everybody to see as some kind of indictment. And this particular question was then taken up by another subscriber who was speaking in my defense. And the question was, what did you flee from in America instead of staying back and earning more money so that you didn't have to come to the Philippines with just $2,000? Right, what did I flee from? This is the true confession, okay? I'm not proud of this, but am I ashamed? Well, I wasn't having fun. And that's what I fled from. The real estate market, I've been through this before. The real estate market had gone in the toilet, and with it, it took my marriage to a beautiful Chinese woman, and with it, the employment went in the toilet. So there was a lot in the toilet in those days. I lost my house, my marriage, my 4 cars. I was doing pretty good. Right at that time, I had a commission for a theatre. It was a theatre cinema, a theatre restaurant. That's it, I got it now. It was a restaurant theatre in Chicago, and the owner of that was very interested in The Wizard of Oz, the movie. So he had seen someone that knew me had sent him a picture of the Tin Man which I had made, and I had a full-size Tin Man sitting in or standing in my living room, and he bought that for a good price. And then when he saw it, he asked me to make 3 others: Dorothy, the Lion, and the Scarecrow. So this was a good thing because they averaged between $8,000 and $10,000 or $11,000. So yeah, it was great. Then in my wisdom, I decided that I would like to get married, met the Chinese woman, and when she got to America, she was so lost that I took 3 or 4 months off work, didn't do any work, and we just spent that time together. This is another question from another guy that apparently has followed me out here from Florida. Yeah, well, you abandoned your Chinese wife in China. Well, you don't abandon anybody in their own country. What I did was I got her into the US, got her a green card, got her a driving license, got her a car, got her daughter over, got her daughter a green card. You see how it goes? That was, if that's what he calls abandoning someone, well, that's it. I've abandoned people in the past, believe me. So, do I have anything to regret? No. Right at that time, I was living in a warehouse, courtesy of my friend, Larry Reiner, which, if you're in Florida and you're watching this from Florida, you'll know the place that I lived. It was that funky looking place with all the different colours painted on it in giveaway paint that Larry had been given. He's a character on his own, and it's right by the old public library. So I was living in a room in a warehouse. That's what I fled from. Now, do I regret anything? Well, there's a lot that I regret. I regret that when I got up this morning, I hadn't had quite enough sleep, so I looked a bit rough. everybody has this, don't they? I got down here, said to Beth, I'll make a video. Sat down, looked in the mirror, said to Beth, no, I don't think I'll make a video, I better clean myself up a bit. So I went out, washed my face, combed my hair, put on a white t-shirt with a collar that hides my chicken neck, and I sat down, looked in the mirror again. I thought, well, that's probably as good as it gets. So do I regret things? Of course I do. I regret that I didn't have a bigger breakfast this morning. I don't give a damn about what's happened in my life. I embrace everything in my life as I think everybody should. I had 8.5 years in the army, which I wasn't very happy with. I didn't like the army. I had, as my mother used to say, I had too much lip. I was too lippy. What that means is that I answered back too much, so I suffered. Do I regret that? Now I look back on it, I don't actually regret it, because all of those experiences, and I'm not telling anybody anything very profound here, because everybody and his brother has said, yes, well, all of the experiences that I've had have made me what I am. Oh, that's so profound, isn't it? But it happens to be true. It's as true as a stitch in time saves 9. That was one of my mother's. So, the thing of regret, the thing of having fled here, have I fled here? Damn right I have. I'm living on top of a hill in fabulous scenery. I'm married to a beautiful girl who's talented and clever and funny and cute and loves me. Did I flee? Yeah. If I'd known back then what I know now, would I have done it? Yeah. So, awkward questions, they're actually quite funny. Did you tell us who you abandoned? We want to know all the children that you abandoned. But I started off this channel by saying I made every mistake in the book. I've been the abandoned, I've been the abandoner, if there is such a word. I've been stolen from, I've been the thief, I've been the liar, I've been cheated, I've been the cheater. I've done all of that because that's what people do. I know that there are some people. I'll give you an example. A long time ago, when I was single in the UK, a friend of mine, Martin, and I used to go to the car auctions, and we'd go there, and the idea was we'd buy a car, and he was a mechanic, and I could do body work. We did the car up, and we sold it, right? Well, we went there once, and we hadn't inspected the car that was up for sale, and it was a little, I don't know, an MG Sprite or something, a little tiny sports car. And we're looking down from the gods, and I said, that looks like fun. And it was going for £30. So without having seen it and without having looked at it, I said, well, it was driven in and it's going to be driven out. And I made a bid on it, and we bought it for £30. Well, when we got back, it wasn't quite the fun that we thought it was, obviously. We got back, and my friend's brother-in-law was there, and he was an insurance agent. Well, I don't know anything about insurance agents other than him. I know that they sell insurance and that they're just people like us, you see. But he was mad at me. You can't go doing that. You didn't even look at the car. You can't do that. What else would he say? He was an insurance agent. He thinks in terms of things going wrong. You better have this insurance because, who knows, you could walk out to your car right now and fall and break your leg. And then what would happen? Well, as Winnie the Pooh used to say, well, what happens if I go out to my car and I don't fall and break my leg? I'll just get in my car and drive away. Did I flee from America? I fled from America. I fled from the UK. I was tired of being in the UK. Everything seemed to me to be in the toilet. Seems a regular thing to me. About every 20 years something goes in the toilet. That means I've only got another 20 years to go. Perhaps I'd better get some insurance. So, regret is really what we're talking about. What did you... See what I mean? I'm abused. What are you doing?
I'm just going somewhere.
You're what? Are those my boxer shorts you've got on? Now, look, just look at this woman. Come here. Come here. She's got my boxer shorts on.
Really?
Ask me again, do I regret being here? Not really. So, look at everybody's regret. When you start going into regret, when you've fled from something, I like Richard Bark's quote. I like this quote. He said, "No problem is so big that you can't run away from it." Well, that's against what all of the super motivational speakers will say. Well, stay and face your dragons. Well, yes, you can, but if it's a really big dragon, well, why don't you do it tomorrow? That's my motto. So, have we got things here that I could flee from? Not really. Anything that's going on right now is going to make me a better person. Either that or it'll kill me. I don't think it's going to kill me. Nothing that is really happening to you right now is cause for regret, because you'll learn something from it. That's what I think. And in the end, it gets down to what you think. Now, some people see one thing and interpret it in one way, and then some people see the same thing and interpret it in another way. Now, I'm flitting from one thing to another, but we're talking about regret, and we're talking about when you regret something, how are you viewing it? I remember being in a band in the UK, and it was one of those gigs where instead of having the coach, it wasn't that far, about 30 miles, so we just drove there. And we shared a car, obviously. And in this particular case, we were sharing my car. And it was in the winter, and there was ice on the roads. Came to a roundabout. We slowed for the roundabout, and the car slid into the roundabout. So it slid into the roundabout and bang, up onto the roundabout, okay? Which is a raised section, a raised circle. So, just for a moment there, we were, when you're waiting for the bang to come, it can be a little bit scary. Well, there's 4 of us in the car. And it was interesting, because when we got to the gig, we were talking about it. What happened? Well, we had, and my viewpoint was this. Well, the car just skidded a bit and it bumped up the roundabout. But the man who was usually in fear about everything, he was in fear about heights, he was in fear about elevators. He couldn't go in an elevator, he couldn't go in a room without a window if there was no window in it. He had a lot of fears. There were lots of things that he feared. Now, when he related what happened, I listened. And boy, we were in a terrible crash that we were lucky to get out of alive. That was how he viewed it. And he probably could be saying exactly the same thing now. Oh, I remember this guy was driving and he was going too fast, and the car went into this terrible skid and then it crashed up into the... That would be his viewpoint. my viewpoint really truly was that we just slid a little bit, couldn't quite stop the last foot, and bumped up the roundabout. So, I don't regret what happened. It cost me a few bob to get it, a few dollars if you like, to get it repaired and put it behind me. Just one of life's experiences. So, I don't have regrets that I'm fleeing from all of my life, and very kindly, when I said that I would reveal things about my life, I thought, well, it might be a good story for somebody, and I've been doing that in my late night reveries about what things were like back then. And I got a good memory, haven't I? It's been a long time ago. Well, I don't really have anything that I don't want anybody to be ashamed of me on. Why? Well, nobody. What did, I hate to get biblical on you here, but what did Christ say? Christ, when everybody was around that poor woman that they were going to stone to death, as was the way they did it in those days, for whatever she'd done, Christ picked up a stone and he held it out and he said, let he who has not sinned, what was the saying? Let him who is without sin cast the first stone. So anybody that's on there saying, oh, so what did you do back then? Who did you abandon? What happened? And all of that. Well, I did a load of crap then. I made all kinds of mistakes. I suffered for them. Karma gave me a heavy bill. For all of my early transgressions, I paid heavily. And I'm kind of all paid up right now, I think, at the moment. We're having a lot of fun right now. Beth and I found a wonderful woman, didn't I? And we're actually enjoying giving everything away, because we don't have much. Actually, we don't need much. We have a good roof over our heads. We live in a drop-dead gorgeous place. I have a wonderful mother-in-law, have kids that I enjoy the company of. I can walk, I can talk, I can think, I can do all of those things, and we don't need anything. We don't go hungry, we don't go thirsty. I got clothes. I got friends who send me things just because it will give them joy to do that they enjoy watching us open a parcel and hand it around. I get stuff that's sent to me that Nana looks at and she likes. She can have it. It's fine by me. I don't need another jacket. I don't need a lot of stuff. I really don't. And I have a wife who is just incredible on that. She doesn't need anything. She's in raptures, laughing, smiling, happy because she got a new lipstick. I know that somebody will be there saying, oh, well, yeah, well, you've got no ambition, have you? You know, ambitious, you don't need anything. How are you ever going to get a new car? Don't need one. So I don't need lots of the things which other people would regret leaving behind. So when I fled, it wasn't so hard for me to give up what I had. So I had a car, sold it. I had a trombone. I loved a trombone. I sold it. That's not the first time that I sold a trombone to get out of a country. Sold my beautiful trombone, my King 2B, that I just adored playing. And I had to sell it for my ticket to America when I was fleeing the UK. So, to flee or not to flee? That is the question. Do what you have to do, and do it without regret. And what the hell? Who cares? This is a foreigner living in the Philippines, in spite of having fled everything.